On January 28, 1829, it was a foggy night in Edinburgh when a cart rolled up the narrow lane near the West Port, and a man stepped out carrying a body as if it were a bundle of rags. The city's lamplit closes hid a desperate economy. Medical schools hungry for corpses, the law allowing only executed criminals for dissection, and a thriving underworld that supplied the rest. Into that hunger stepped William Burke and William Hare, partners in a lodging house, and from late 1827 through 1828, architects of a murderous enterprise. They did not look like conspirators against civilization. Hare was a small-time salesman who found a niche hauling bodies. Burke, an Irish immigrant with a braided past, was brusque and practical. Together they discovered a grim market. Anatomists paid for whole, fresh bodies, unmarked by violence. The pair learned to kill without leaving telltale wounds, a method so effective that anatomists paid top price. The technique came to be called burking, smothering a victim until life slipped away, but the body remained externally intact. Targets were chosen for vulnerability: drunks sneaking through the cowgate, lonely lodgers, those with no family to demand answers. The receipts from the dissecting rooms of Edinburgh's medical schools bought them liquor, warmth, and a perverse security. Dr. Robert Knox, a celebrated anatomist whose lectures drew students from across Europe, purchased bodies from Burke and Hare. Knox himself insisted later that he never asked how the corpses had arrived, yet the regular stream of fresh cadavers from the West Port made him a central figure in the scandal that followed. For months, the scheme worked in plain sight. Neighbors noticed people disappearing, but the city was full of absences in the poor districts. Suspicion only hardened after the arrival of a particularly youthful corpse whose relatives made inquiries. A witness who had seen a woman enter Burke and Hare's lodging, alive, later identified the men leaving with a body. Fear and outrage rippled through Edinburgh as rumors of the killings turned into concrete accusation. When the law closed in, Hare cut a deal. He agreed to testify for the Crown in exchange for immunity. His testimony painted a chilling portrait: systematic murder carried out at the direction of Burke, with both Hare and Burke's household assisting in luring and quieting victims. The public learned the scale. Contemporaries estimated that the pair had been responsible for at least a dozen, and some reckonings put the number higher. The trial that followed resembled a moral inquest rather than mere legal procedure. Burke was convicted of murder. On January 28, 1829, he was hanged before a huge crowd. In an act loaded with symbolic retribution, his body was given over for public dissection, the same fate his victims had suffered, and parts of him were preserved as a cautionary exhibit. Hare, whose immunity kept him from prosecution, disappeared into obscurity, protected by his bargain with the state. The scandal left more than 2 lives ruined. Dr. Knox's reputation never recovered. Though not charged with wrongdoing, his complacency in accepting corpses without demanding provenance made him a pariah in polite circles and cast a long shadow over medical practice in Britain. The public demanded reform. Outrage coalesced into legislation. Within a few years, the Anatomy Act of 1832 would broaden the legal supply of cadavers to licensed practitioners and curtail the lucrative market that had made murder profitable. The Burke and Hare affair is both a crime story and a cautionary tale about institutions that create demand without oversight. It exposed a brutal commerce in human remains, human indifference to the marginalized, and the slender line between scientific progress and moral collapse. In the fog of Edinburgh's closes, the phrase "to Burke" entered the language, a grim linguistic memorial to a conspiracy born of greed and the city's own medical eminence. The bones displayed in the medical museums are not just artifacts, they are the ledger entries of a time when curiosity and commerce fed a murderous economy until society decided it could bear the cost no longer.